outside. They're not trying to hide, but admit their frailties, their lopsided sides of themselves. They're trying to move forward. There is no such thing as perfection. We all know it. Give me the imperfect. Those who look perfect are hiding something, and they scare me to death. And so here is lopsided Levi. And Jesus, seeing his lopsidedness, says, "Follow me." And without hesitation, he comes to the front. Without hesitation, he jumps at the chance of new life. Because he knows that in that invitation, tomorrow will be better than what he's experiencing today. In that invitation, he discovers that Jesus believes in him and wants him on his team. In that invitation, Levi discovers that, yeah, I am somebody, not because of what I have done, but because who I can become thanks to this man who believes in me. Suddenly, life is freer, more colorful. Suddenly, he is able to relate to people differently, and that's what he discovered. Because, you see, people could start relating to him once he started following Jesus and had hope. It is the person who has been forgiven, you see, who can best forgive. It's the person who has been loved who can best love. It is the person who has experienced the depth of despair that can share hope with those who see only darkness. There's an 11-year-old boy who was a shortstop on a team, and he heard that the coach of another team had gotten two of the players in his team to kick off Gordon from that team because Gordon was an awful player, a Barney Fife player, a Garrison Keillor player. And this shortstop told that to his coach. His coach immediately got on the phone and invited Gordon to join his team. And the boy reflected, the shortstop reflected, "I felt really good playing on that team this year. I've never been prouder of that man I could call coach and father." And that is who our coach is. The one who purposely selects those people that no one else will accept on the team. The one who picks those people whom others have kicked off their team. That's because Jesus knows not the appearance of us on the outside. Jesus knows our potential on the inside. Jesus saw that in Levi. So the question is, what does Jesus see in you? Or maybe a better way to phrase it, who do you see yourself relating to best in this story? The religious heavyweights? Well, that's fine. If you are those who do good deeds and can put lots of good things on your resume, your religious resume, excellent. We need you here at Manchester United Methodist. Just remember that ultimately you are here not because of how good you are or for what you've done. You are here only because Jesus had mercy on you and invited you to be here. You have to always guard against self-sufficiency and self-righteousness. Do you see yourself as the Babe Ruths, or do you see yourself as the Levi, the man who beat himself up, the man who felt beaten down in life? If you came into this sanctuary feeling that way today, good, because remember, you will not leave feeling that way. If you hear this gospel, that Jesus Christ sees you, glasses, kids and all, and says, "I want you." After all, that's the way the story ends. Levi throws a party. Jesus is eating and drinking with them. The people who got rebuffed, the religious heavy hitters, said, "Look, he's eating and drinking with sinners." And Jesus says those marvelous words. The healthy don't need a physician, but the sick. I have come to call not the righteous, but the sinners to new life. That's what he did with Levi. Levi was proud to be able to call him his coach. He invites, Jesus does, Levi to sit right down there and puts new sneakers on his feet because Levi now is Jesus' star player. I like to read the Upper Room Devotion. I do that every day. I ran across a story written, or a devotion written by Dwayne Buehler, who lived in the Pacific Northwest. Favorite hobby he and his dad would have would be to comb the beaches of the Pacific searching for driftwood. His father would turn driftwood into beautiful frames for clocks and nice furniture. And one particular day, they'd been looking an hour. And Dwayne would come up and say, "Hey, what about this, Dad?" Dad would look at it and say, "Nah, no, throw it away." Till after about an hour, his dad says, "I found it, Dwayne, I found it." So Dwayne rushes over. What does he see? A gnarled, knotty, twisted piece of root. And Dwayne says, "You call me over, I've brought all this other stuff to you, and that's the one you see? That's the one you want?" Dwayne's dad replied, "Look, you can't look at it just for the way it appears now. You have to look at it and see what it can be." His dad made a beautiful maple bird's eye clock that hangs in Dwayne's office to this day to remind him of the words of his dad. It's not what it looks like now that counts. You have to see what it can be. And if you think you deserve to be on Jesus' team, well, you might want to rethink that. But if Jesus calls you to be on his team at the exact moment that you feel the most down on yourself, as ugly as that piece of gnarled driftwood, well, good. Because Jesus sees in you what you can be. That is why we call it grace. Grace.